I'm fired up and I'm ready to go. I'm fired up and I'm ready to go. I'm fired up and I'm ready to go. This is the Billionaire Brown experience. Let's go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back again. The Billionaire Brown experience. We're back today. We have an extremely important, necessary guest, Sora Vernikoff. Sora, say hello to everyone.
Hi, guys. Nice to meet you.
All right, awesome, guys. This one is, I know this is going to resonate with some of you guys, if not most of you, whether you're on the treadmill right now, driving in your car, commuting to wherever you should be, but you should be social distancing still by the time this comes out. So yeah, let's get this started. This is again Sora Vernikoff, author of Eat What You Want, Stop When You Want. We'd like to start it first with what got you on this journey.
Should I call you Billionaire Brown? Well, Billionaire Brown.
Sure, let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, Billionaire Brown, decades ago, I was a school teacher and educator in East New York, Brooklyn. And when I started teaching, I wore a poodle skirt, white boots, pink ribbon, and pink glasses. And I met these kids, and when I went to school, we never crossed the yellow line. But I got into this room with 35 fourth graders, 10 years old, and it was an experience, okay? And so year after year, I got good at really managing them, and it was really, really tough. I'm not gonna, lie or tell your listeners it's easy to be a teacher, because it's not, And yeah, but over the years, I got really good at managing these kids. And at the same time that I used to teach, I used to diet, take off the weight, and put it back on. So I did everything perfectly. I leveled all my tablespoons. I had peas 3 times a week, and I would always regain my weight. And what I found is I'm the kind of person, I like to do things once. I don't mind how long it takes to do, but I don't want to do it again. And yet when I dieted, I don't care if it takes 10 years, but I don't want to do it again. So I would diet, do everything right. I would even journal in those days, write down what I had. Long story short, one day, decades ago, I looked at my 35 fourth graders, and I said to myself, how come, Sora, these kids who walk, talk, and do all those other things, they listen to you, but food has no animate qualities. You can't stop thinking about it, and you can't stop eating. And that was my aha moment. I said, well, I'll be darned. These kids listen to me, but food doesn't walk, talk, or do whatever. There's got to be something I'm not seeing. And then I heard a voice inside me say, Sora, I want you to stop dieting, and I want you to eat the food, exactly the food that you want. But I want you to journal every eating experience to find out why you think about food all day. So for years, I journaled every eating experience before, during, and after. And it was in that journey that I found out why I thought too much about food each day. I also took off 25 pounds that I've kept off since '84. And I never put it back on. And I used my program. I walked the walk. And then after I lost my weight in '84, I knew that I could transfer my classroom management techniques to food management techniques. And I developed this easy to use Eat and Stop Yourself No Diet weight loss program. And in 1992, I made my first business card. And I haven't looked back,
So what, you was only 25 pounds overweight?
I'm really glad that you put it that way. You're only 25 pounds overweight. Let me tell you something, Billionaire Brown. Every pound that someone is overweight, they're overthinking food, and they're not in control of their thoughts. So you try to keep off 25 pounds when you think about food all day,
Yeah, 25 pounds. I see a lot of, specifically women, complaining about, they're mad about 2 pounds overweight.
Exactly.
So I know it's a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. 2 pounds, 2 pounds overweight is something to be scared of, because from 2, it goes to 5, and then at 5, you're in panic, but you can't eat and stop. So you go to 10, and then you're hating yourself. And then that whole process kicks in. You see, every pound that you shouldn't be, that you put on, is a mismanagement of thoughts. And I'm a thought doctor. I'm a picture doctor. So I figured out why I thought too much about food each day. And then the techniques that I developed that I teach in my book let you actually consciously minimize the number of food thoughts you want to think about each day. So not only will you have a thin body, but you'll have a matching thin mind. And that's what's really exciting to me.
So before we get into the meat of what I want to talk about, you're saying that within losing this 25 pounds, you continued to keep eating the things that you wanted to eat?
Correct. I only eat to this day what I want to eat.
I don't understand that.
Because the name of my book is Eat What You Want, Stop When You Want, a No Diet Weight Loss Program. So let me explain to you why that's so essential to me.
Because I'm just saying this, Sora, and I may not be the only one, but I'm accustomed to you gotta stop eating these type of foods. You gotta, add these type of foods into your diet. So hearing, hey, you can eat what you want, I know that's gonna open up the ears of a lot of our listeners. Like, whoa, I can continue eating what I want. I like this lady. But how did you lose 25 pounds eating what you wanted?
Well, okay, so Billionaire Brown, let me step back. Let's take those statements apart. And let's start with, so the average person, because it's the cultural default, I want to make that clear. Dieting is the cultural default. So some gal or guy listening to your broadcast is saying to themselves, okay, I have to lose weight, I have to go on a diet. So let me show you what a diet is and why diets don't work. And then you'll really understand why you can't eat what you want. So I want you to think about a diet as a clock. I want your listeners to do the same as well. So at 12 o'clock, oh my God, I have to lose weight. I'm picking this diet. So you pick a diet. And I like to say, if diets work, why would we need so many? But you start at, okay? So you start at 12 o'clock, you pick a diet. I can do this, whatever. So you follow someone else's rules. Now, who made up these rules? 4 nutritionists in a corporate boardroom who decide what you can eat, what you can't eat, how much you can eat, and then don't trust yourself because that's what you brought. That's why you came to us, because you know you can't trust yourself around food, okay? So you go on this diet and you feel very motivated. I want to lose some weight. Let's go to 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock, I'm good, good, good. That's a very common statement. I'm good. I'm on this diet. I'm good. I just lost 3 pounds. I'm good. So your whole self-worth is tied up with being good because you followed someone else's rules at 12 o'clock that got paid money to make up what you can and cannot eat because they're in charge. So now let's go to 6 o'clock. All right, 6 o'clock. It could be a day later, 2 days later, a week later. You can't take it anymore. You go, I cannot follow these rules. I want a bag of Oreos. I'm only going to buy 6 in a package in Duane Reade, or I want a second piece of bread, or I want a slice of pizza. I'm sorry, I haven't had pizza in so long. So what do? You go off the diet, you binge, okay? You diet binge, or you binge eat, however you call it, and you have everything you want. And oh my God, you feel so much better. Why? Because in reality, you just took control back from the people in authority. You took control back from the diet. The problem is, or rather the challenge is, that the other side of that coin is that after you relieve yourself and get that control from these people who told you what you can and cannot have, then you got to beat yourself up. Oh my God, look what I just did. Look at it. I'm just worthless. I'm just a worthless person. I can't even follow the rules of this diet. So what happens at 9 o'clock? You say to yourself, well, I'm just going to have to go back to 12 o'clock in the diet because I can't do this. I can't manage food at all. I'm totally incompetent. And you go back on your diet to 12 o'clock knowing full well in the back of your mind there's another binge lurking, and it's just a matter of getting yourself down to 6 o'clock again. So diets don't work, Billionaire Brown, because 1, they're not your rules. 2, they're built on deprivation, what you can and cannot have, which is decided by other people. So that's why diets don't work. And statistics show that 97% of all people who diet regain their weight in 2 years.
Yes.
So if diets really worked, how can you be happy on a diet when someone's telling you what to put in your mouth? You don't want to eat what you don't want to eat, but it says you have to eat it. You're eating someone else's choices for you. That didn't sit right with me. So what I found in my journaling, and now you'll understand better. Are you okay if I just?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So what I found in my journaling was that the reason that I thought too much about food was that no matter how much I ate, nothing was enough. Okay? Well, when I saw, because I'm a problem solver, that's just, I like to solve challenges. So when I saw that nothing that I ate was enough, I said, okay, Sora, you have to figure out a way that every time you eat, you know when you're going to stop, so you're going to have enough. Because if you know you're having enough, then you're going to know when to stop. So once I figured out that I needed to create techniques that would let me know when to stop, then I was on the road to romance. I was able to figure out the two techniques. And as it turns out, Billionaire Brown, they were the same techniques that I used in the classroom to manage the kids. All right? So it was very, very serendipitous that I wound up learning the techniques in the classroom and then applying them to food. Because, and that's my story and I'm sticking to it. So the techniques that I developed in my book let you know how much is enough before you eat. So what I'm going to tell you and your listeners is that the techniques in my book let you know when you're going to stop eating before your first bite. Before your first bite.
All right, now we're talking. Okay, so all right, so what is the technique on how to know when you're going to stop eating before you start eating this thing that you want?
Okay, so I just
because I want this. I do want this. I appreciate you letting me eat. You're saying, hey, you can eat whatever I want, but now you're telling me I can know when I need to stop before I proceed in eating.
Correct.
How? What? Tell me, please.
I will. So let me just preface before. So I'm going to teach you and your listeners how to use the green technique and how to be able to eat and stop.
You call it the what technique?
The green technique.
Okay, excellent.
Okay. So, but before I teach that, do you mind if I just share the two kinds of food thoughts that you think about all day?
Yes.
It'll help your listeners see the whole thing better.
Let's do it.
Okay. So what I discovered in my journaling is, believe it or not, there's only two kinds of food thoughts that any human being in this world thinks about. And those are called, one, the inside food caller, and two is the outside food caller. Now, an inside food caller is when you wake up in the morning, you go, gee whiz, my stomach feels like it needs to eat. What should I eat? Scrambled eggs. And that signal in your stomach feels better. You go, okay, that's a match. That's an inside food caller. Okay. Now, just like there are inside food callers, there's inside gum callers. You're at the doctor's office. You don't want food. You're nervous. You take a piece of gum. Okay, your mouth wants to chew, but you don't want food. There's the inside cold drink caller and the inside hot drink caller. You're outside, it's cold, and you want something hot, your body is telling you. And if you're if you're outside and it's hot, you want something cold. If you're in the cold, you want hot. Now, just as there are 4 types of inside food callers, there are 4 kinds of outside food callers. So you're walking down the street in Brooklyn and you see this really cool pizza place and it smells really good. You go, I think I'll have a slice of pizza. Well, it wasn't the external cue was outside you, okay? It wasn't from inside your body. So then we have outside gum callers. You're at a friend's house, she has some gum on the table, you pick up a piece, or an outside hot drink, or outside hot drink, or a outside cold drink caller. So what I want to tell your listeners that the biggest problems are the inside food caller, but the bigger problem is the outside food caller, because we're so inundated with food all around us all the time. We're always walking. So that's the problem. So I'm going to teach you and your listeners how to have any inside or outside food caller they want and know when they're going to stop before they eat. And it's called the green technique. So Billionaire Bill, what food, I want all your listeners to think along with Billionaire Bill, and I want you to come up with a food just like I'm going to ask him to do. What food is tough for you to eat and stop?
That's easy. That is easy. That's That's the easiest question I've had in a while. That's easy. What food?
Well, I'm easy,
What food do I love to eat that I just cannot stop once I get going? Deviled eggs.
Deviled eggs. Well, that's really interesting. I'll just share with you because my mom growing up in Brooklyn, that's what she would make for all our barbecues. And I remember her